Only to see Elvis play. Hey, I would, I'm lying. Yeah, let's try to get a balance now.
You want to run a track? You want to balance with you up here?
Balance of the guitar on the track.
Okay. You got to run the track up?
Yeah. Wonderful, yeah, wonderful. Can you hear everything? Is that okay? Yeah. More guitar? Less guitar?
We're good.
You guys cool?
We're cool.
Ready to start this thing?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, thank you all for coming. It's really early in the morning, so I'm just going to bear with it. But we're going to have a good time, and I'll play a bunch of songs, and then if you have any questions at all, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, and anything. It doesn't have to be music related. Probably more interesting if it's not music related, but whatever you got. So I'm going to play a bunch of songs here, and then we'll take it from there, all right? Okay. じゃあ4曲ぐらいやって、今日練習。時間一緒に。じゃあ、曲最後で言っても大丈夫ですか？はい。All right, so this first song I'm going to play is it's a very famous Japanese song that's actually quite a ballad that I decided to make really rock and kind of do it my style. It's Amagi Goe.
What's up, people?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Now I'm going to play a song from the album called Loudspeaker. This one's called Devil Take Tomorrow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, maybe we'll take some Q&As and then I'll play some more songs. Anybody have any questions? Do we need to bring a mic to the audience or something like that? Or are we set up for that? Do you have a question?
Yeah, So I was just curious on a personal level. I was in Japan last year for the first time and just absolutely fell in love with that place. I was wondering what took you there. And
I don't think anybody can hear you, so can you come up here and ask it?
Sure.
Yeah. I certainly can't hear you.
My question was, I was in Japan last year for the first time and absolutely fell in love with that place, and I was wondering what took you there and how you're liking life over there in Japan.
Okay, thank you very much. The main reason I first decided to move to Japan was because I found myself listening to Japanese music like 100% of the time. Japanese pop, Japanese rock, Japanese metal, dance music, electronic music, club music, every kind of Japanese music. And I wasn't listening to what was going on back home here. So I was like, what am I doing over here? You know, so I decided to move to the place where I liked what was in the current popular music scene. Like, for example, if you look at the top 10 on the chart in Japan, top 10 singles, I'd probably really like about 9 of the songs. And I'd be back home here, I look at the top 10 and like, I don't really like any of the songs, maybe one song. It's just my personal taste seemed to fit more towards what was going on in Japanese popular music than what was happening here. Well, there's some fantastic music here as well, definitely, but just each person has their own separate taste, and I found that the stuff that I really liked was happening in Japan, so I thought that I could add my musicality to the Japanese domestic music scene more than the American scene. Come on, answer, but good question. Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a... Hello?
Okay, can you crank that mic up, please?
Just put your mouth up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, I want to comment. I'm glad you stayed solo because you really, I love the way you become more melodic.
Thank you.
And I hope that I'm not being too geeky here, but I watched the way you sweep and the way that you hit with your finger.
Yeah.
And maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit?
Certainly.
I know I'm being geeky.
No, I mean, that's what these things are for. If you can't geek out now, there's no time to geek out ever. As you see, I have an unorthodox way of picking like this. It basically was born from doing a lot of this as a kid and as an adult. That's where that came from. Really, I don't know. I mean, to give you a good answer, I think it's because I don't like the sound of muted strings, you know, like when you got... I hate that I like to hear the notes ring out. So when my hand's far away from the strings, they don't meet the strings, and you don't get that. I like this. And I think another thing that you're mentioning is often I'll play notes with my fingers. A lot of reasons for that. One thing is I get to mute all the other strings. See how I'm doing that? I'm muting everything here. So with the only string that you can hear is the string that's playing the melody. Like I got this is muting the top string, this is muting all the other strings, and the only strings that I'm hitting, I'm using like one of my middle fingers. And another reason is, if you use a pick on everything, it just sounds really boring. So I like to randomly mix it up. If I feel like playing the note with my finger, it has a finger sound, which is always different every time. If you use a pick all the time, it's always going to sound pick, 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 pick. And you know, girls don't respond to that. So I like to have different attack sounds. So often, like when I'm sitting here, it's very polite, but like when I'm playing live, I'm slapping it really hard. You get a different random sound every time, so you get more humanness out of it when you don't have a set, organized efficient picking pattern in place. And so that's the answer to that. Very much. Other questions? Otras preguntas?
Hey Marty, thanks for coming out and doing this for us. Well, you're known, or at least I think of you as somebody who really has very interesting note choices in your solos that you can just hear them a mile away. When you're following chord progressions, is that something that you think of in advance, where you say, okay, I'm gonna play in Locrian in this chord and the next one, or does this just happen? It's just kind of the way that you evolve over time, and how does that work in your writing process?
Well, the writing process is a whole other story, but I'll get to your improvising thing. I'm not one of those guys, like there's a lot of super guitar players on this boat who could probably explain those modes to you and things like that. I don't know any of that. I don't really want to know any of that. It's too much effort to learn it. I've always been of the school of play it until it sounds like it's what you want to come out of your head and your body and your heart and everything. And the longer you do that, you know how to get the notes out that you want. And there'll probably be a lot of people who will dispute the point that I'm about to make, but I have the feeling that if you rely on all those modes and all those scales, like this mode goes with this part of the scale, this mode goes with this part of the key, you run the risk of everybody having the same information. And like, so if this guy follows this chord with this mode and another guy follows that chord with that mode, it's going to kind of sound the same in a way. However, the good thing about that mode playing that I don't do is even if you're like hungover and you don't know what the hell you're doing, if you play in the right mode over the right chord and the right scale, you're going to sound fine. It's very safe. So that's the plus to that stuff. And if you're talking about very difficult chords going one after the other, like in difficult jazz and stuff like that, it can be quite helpful. I'm of the complete opposite way. I know the sound of the notes well enough to choose whatever note I want to play at any time. That being said, if the chord progression is quite complex with a lot of difficult voicings, I'll think ahead of time and work on things that I think sound good. So whereas a jazz guy who's like really fluent in all the modes and all that stuff, they'll just wing through all these chords and just play right through it and be smooth. However, that's just not in my playing style at all. Does that make any sense? Make any sense? Yeah. So like, I think I'm a very much use your ear, and I'm very much try as best as I can to avoid cliches. And one cliche is playing. If you're playing in, say, if you're playing in the key of E, and you go, that's going to sound the same if anybody does that. So I might go. I'm playing all kinds of really bullshit, really. But like, let's call a spade here. A lot of it's really bullshit, but the key is to know when your bullshit is sounding really cool and good. That's the key. If you know when this bullshit you're playing is, you're in the fucking zone, that's where you decide your own style and how you make your voice as a musician. I mean, it's really easy to play by the numbers, learn all the scales, learn all the modes, play to a metronome. It's really not rocket science to play guitar. But what is more important is to you decide what sounds good to your ear that makes you different from the next guy. And that doesn't necessarily mean learning the same methods as the next guy. And there you have kind of sort of a perverted way of playing, which is mine, which if you like it, it's cool. If you don't like it, I just sound like a complete maniac, you know? So it's a very personal thing. And my way is not necessarily a good way or the best way. It's just the way I have always been playing, so that's the only thing I know how to explain like that. Hopefully it makes sense. If you don't have questions, I'll just play, so.
Should I go team or?
Eddie's got questions.
I'm sorry I'm being a ball hog here.
It's all right.
But I was wondering if you have a go-to pattern for your
Have a
skill.
what?
A go-to pattern for your skill.
Definitely not. If you have a go-to pattern, you're fucked.
You
Then
can't
you
get
go
up
to
a
it.
spot. And do you,
Oh, that's his go-to pattern. You don't want to have a go-to pattern. When you have a go-to pattern, then you have 2 go-to patterns, then you have 10 go-to patterns, and you're always going to those patterns. You want to take the risk. Take the risk of like making an ass out of yourself in front of everybody or being a hero. Every time, just take the risk. And maybe half the time you'll fuck up, but the other half you're great. And the time you're fucking up, girls don't know the difference anyway.
Do you have a warm-up exercise to use?
This is it, man. This is like 11:30 in the morning, man. This is about as warming up as you'll ever get.
I mean, like finger exercise.
Yeah. I should. People really should do that. This guy had a question, then we'll get some answers. Then we'll get some songs.
I'm sort of the same school of bullshit method. How much bullshit do you throw out, bro, and what sticks before you know how much is too much?
Hopefully you have enough musical sense in your mind to know that it sounds good to you. If something sounds good to you, it doesn't matter what any other person thinks. I mean, I might like the sound...
What she thinks too, right?
Well, if she's your wife, it matters what she thinks very much.
There you go. Perfect.
But, no, I mean, I'm telling you, one person might like the sound of radio static, and the other person might like the sound of Celine Dion. Personally, I prefer radio static, but that's my...
Me too. Me too.
But that's not to say that she's not the absolute best singer in the world. She might be. She's absolutely fantastic. I respect her from the bottom of my heart as a musician. But the sound she makes is not a sound that I enjoy. So this is important. This is so important. Everybody needs to know this. You have to know what you really like. Not what other people think is good. You have to know what you like. This is the difference between a good guitar player and an artist. Good guitar player can sit in with any style and jam with anything, do anything, they can play anything that they learn really, really well. But an artist is a guy who knows what he likes and tries to hone that and make that as best as he can, even if it's radio static. Guy can make the best sounding radio static you ever heard. This is so important, and I can't stress this enough. It's so much more important than scales and exercise and shit. Really analyze what it is you like. Why do you like it? What if you had to put your name on something, music, what would it be? These are the important decisions you have to make. The important decision is not how to get from 180 to 200 on a metronome. Any monkey can do this. It's important to understand what it is you like and how do you get better at that? How do you continue to make that better? Make something that you like. Possibly another person might like it too. That's even better. But like the true artist really doesn't give a crap about what anybody else thinks, and then really gets good at what they love to do. But then when you want to start thinking about making money and making a living at it, you have to take in other factors. But hopefully those other factors don't push out what you really like. And that is so important. People don't know what they like. Their friends say, well, you should listen to this guy, you should listen to this guy, because he's really super, super good. It doesn't matter. Everybody's good. I mean, if you walk into a CD store, every single one of those albums is full of fantastic musicians. Doesn't mean you have to like them all. Doesn't mean you have to learn from them all. You can completely dislike them and disregard them. Should respect them, though, for what they did, but doesn't mean you have to like them. And it's so important. You know, oh, I like this, I love this. When you know that feeling, then you go and analyze that and learn how to make that your own and rip it off and do it your own way. And just know what you like. I can't even stress that enough. Good question. All right, we'll take one more and then I'll play some songs.
Hey Mario, what's your songwriting process?
Songwriting process. I'll randomly hear melodies like 24 hours a day, really. And if I hear something that's unique, something that I've never done before, I'll like record it into either my phone or in a recorder or something and just keep stock of hundreds and hundreds of ideas and then try to elaborate on them. And if they start to come into a shape of a song, then they keep going. But by the time I record an album, maybe there's 100 ideas and I have to whittle them down to like 10 or 20. And most of the stuff I come up with gets thrown away. it just takes forever. It takes a long time. Some guys are much more efficient at songwriting than I am, but I have to hear it and I have to like, you know, make a memo of it. That's what I do. All right. So let's play a couple more songs and then you can think of a few more questions if you have any. Let's try Undertow. This is the second music video from Inferno. Undertow. All right. Any more questions? Otra preguntas. Okay.
A quick two-parter.
Okay.
You've been a Jackson player your whole life, pretty much. Was there ever a part or a time that you were upset that Grover didn't name the Kelly the Marty? And question number 2.
Where were you for the whole 1990s decade?
I was there. Question.
Yeah, that was my motto for the whole 10 years.
So, the Marty Friedman, Jason Becker album Cacophony was just an awakening for me. Years later, do you and him still keep in touch? And we know his health issues. You still talk?
Well, he's my best friend, one of my best friends in the entire world. I'm going to tell him that I'm all the way down in the Bahamas, and guys are asking about Jason on the Bahamas, and it's a fantastic thing, man. You know, what an inspiration, man. I mean, put his guitar playing to the side, and it's still an amazing inspiration. The fact is, he's still creating music, and it's better than ever, and that's just absolutely unbelievable. His musical compositions and his style, and he keeps evolving and growing, and he's working on something right now that is just going to blow your minds, and I can't wait till you all hear it. And I'm in very close contact with him. He helped me out. He wrote a song with me on my Inferno album, and he's just the ultimate, man. Every time I'm working on music, I'm thinking, well, is Jason going to like this when it's done? So I kind of have to have that criteria in my head, you know, but I'll definitely tell him that he asked him about him, and I'll tell him he said hello. Yeah. He's my bro. All right. You got a question here?
How you doing, Marty? I know you started really early in life. Was there a point where your parents thought that they lost their son to poverty and living at home for the rest of their lives? Thinking that you were not going to make it as a musician?
I didn't really start that early, actually. I started when I was 14, you know, which is like ancient by today's standards. And my folks were really cool. My folks were cool about it, you know. They had money saved up for my college, and I said, I want to take that money and buy some Marshall amps. And I think they might have been worried at that point. I was like 15 or something, and but they were always cool about it, and you know, they kind of let me do my thing, and I didn't really want to let them down either, because, you know, it's really easy as a musician to get caught up in things that are going to make you do the wrong things in life, you know, because when you're 14, 15, this is important, like, people, like, blow sunshine up your skirt left and right, you know what I mean, when you're a young guitar player. Oh, you're so good, and here, try this, here, drink this, here, smoke this, and you get adulation at an early age, and that can really, I don't know why they don't do it to drummers or bass players, it's only guitar players. I don't know what it is, but like, it's really easy for a guitar player to like get a big head and think they're really the shit, and then next thing you know, they're like wasted all the time and doing drugs, and it's easy to fall into the wrong trap, and I got really close to that when I was like 15. Luckily, I got over that, and I think the reason was because I didn't want my parents to like think I was a loser. You know, because around me, there was a lot of great musicians. They're all like junkies and like, just like, not the type of people that you want to turn out to be, but like when you're a young guitar player and you see these guys they can play everything and they're so good and they playing all this hard music, but like they're getting wasted all the time. So you're like, well, if I get wasted too, maybe I can play good like that. You know, it's so easy to think that because young guitar players really respect anybody who can play a little bit more fancy than they can, right? So you see these guys and they're like your heroes, but if you take a step back, they're really just kind of losers getting wasted all the time, and it's just really a sad thing, but it's so easy to get caught into that, and I have to thank my parents for kind of trusting that I wasn't going to do that. When I got pretty close, I'll tell you that. When I was in junior high school and high school, I was kind of a fuck up. But that's the main thing, you know. My parents were really supportive. Good question. Other question? Back here?
Hey Marty, good to see you. I know you haven't been out here in a long time, been in Japan for a long time, following your career since back in the day, Kakani. And I remember the first real awakening, I went backwards and, checked out the talk and stuff, but the first real awakening, I think with everybody here would totally say, Hangar 18 came out, and that solo, I was like, that's some real deal shit. I mean, it wasn't just some array of fancy chops, it was really beautifully melodic, deep, giant vibrato. I mean, tremendous stuff, and I love the taste in your playing, and those exotic Eastern type scales that just make it something special. You hear it, you know what it is immediately. It's Friedman. It's tremendous shit. And so I went back and saw when you first not your first movie, the next one you put out, Scenes, I believe is the name. The day it came out, I went and got them a cassette. It wasn't even in the shelf for an hour before I got it.
Thank you very much.
Tremendous. And
you were the one who bought that.
Yeah, no, I was told, I know a lot of guys were, oh man, it's not as chopped and it's not as aggressive. I'm like, it's Friedman, what the hell what are you doing?
Thank you very much.
It was tremendous, and I remember reading a follow-up article to that, and you were saying that the company, they wanted some other producer. You insisted on a Japanese producer, I believe it was. I remember reading that article back in the day. Anyways, following your example and just your career, and you moved to Japan and in Tokyo, and you assimilated, and you really did very well and everything. Then I came to say, well, what's going on with Japanese music? So I got into that, and one of my favorite J-pop bands is Kabukuro.
Who?
Yeah, Kabukuro.
Kabukuro.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Love them. Awesome.
Nice.
But so I got a little further into that, and like you were saying, I agree. Everything they do is tremendous. The quality of the pop is wicked. Everything, and I love pop too. I like anything that's a good melody, tremendous stuff. But separately, aside from that, what about back in the day when there was a lot of, when things were popular, let's say, for the genre of music, whatnot, endorsements, let's say, whether they were amps or guitars or whatnot, can you give me like an example of what a typical deal looked like at that time?
So, first of all, thank you for all the kind words. And the question is more like about endorsements. And endorsements are kind of a good thing and also a necessary evil of playing music. And I've had a lot of wonderful companies support me over the years. I think I'm on my fourth signature model guitar or something like that. I've had one with Jackson, I've had one with Ibanez, I've had one with PRS. And people see me play Jackson for this whole tour. I'm working with Jackson and possibly thinking about something in the future with them, but nothing's etched in stone yet. They're making some wonderful prototypes for me. Endorsements, if you're like a touring artist, you need company support to, get gear that works for whatever you're doing and get gear to where it needs to be. I mean, I might be in the Bahamas today, and tomorrow I might have to be in Berlin or something like that. How does that work? So you have to have a company that has your gear the way you want it, ready to do a professional show live all the time. So it's not only just a good instrument. Of course, a good instrument is the cornerstone of it, but the people have to know how to deal with touring artists. And this is very important. And so I've had some wonderful, wonderful relationships with all the companies that I've worked with. And, I change a lot, needs change. I'm not one of those guys who, I'm loyal, but I'm more loyal to my music than I am to any other company or person or anything. So if guitar sounds better, I'm going to play that guitar. For what I'm doing, of course, needs change. Back when I was in Megadeth, we basically had one tone, and that was thrash, that sound. And there's no guitar better than that in the world than Jackson. It's just a fact. So I used that heavily for the majority of the time. And then towards like the end, when we started to have more palette of sounds, you could probably see me playing Les Paul or Strat or whatever, SG. And then after that, I started doing my solo albums, and then I had more of a different musical texture. Still a lot of metal sound, but I needed other sounds. Then I got I had a signature model with Ibanez, so we kind of widened that out. And then in Japan, it got even wider. I might be playing full-on blasting death metal one day and then playing with the Philharmonic Orchestra the next day. PRS was perfect with that. And for some reason, when Inferno came out, all the other companies started saying, listen, try this, try this, try this, try that. And so I'm just very happy to try anything. At the end of the day, the instrument that I choose is one thing, but you need people in the company who can deal with, get my stuff to this boat in the middle of nowhere, or get this stuff to South America or Japan or wherever. So endorsements are the same as it's always been for me. I've been very, very fortunate to have such good luck with endorsements. However, a lot of times I thought I would just like to just carry one guitar with me and just fuck everybody. But you know what? They still haven't invented a guitar that's man enough for that. I've yet to play a perfect guitar. Can you dig that? So if any of you guys are guitar makers out there, just make a man's guitar one of these days. Actually, we're getting pretty close with this Jackson I'm working on, but that's a later story. Instruments, man. Instruments. What can you do? One more question, then I'll play another song, and then we'll wrap this up.
Hey Marty, thanks for coming out. I see you used the EVH.
Yeah. We're on a boat, that's what they prepared for us.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's my question.
That's your question? Okay.
That's just choice. EVH, is that your vote?
Yeah, I mean, on an event like this with 500 bands and small places to play, they have a certain amount of gear that everybody shares. So an amp like EVH is a very high quality amp that nobody's going to complain about. So I think maybe everybody's playing on the same gear here. I'm not sure. Sounds good to me. Do you have a question? No?
We were just smiling, looking at all the marshals sitting behind you. I don't think those are shared.
All right. Well, in that case, I think, any last questions? Because I'll play one more song and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, hey Marty, what guitars influenced you, like, growing up, to, help you get to your style?
Growing up. When I first started, it was all about Kiss and the Ramones. That was it. It was the ultimate. And I was glad that I started out with that because I could play it really relatively easily. If you start out and you're like interested in John McLaughlin or something like that, or Al Di Meola, you're not going to get too much satisfaction of achievement too quickly. It's not going to happen. You're just going to be depressed. So I'm like, Ramones, shit, I can play this guitar. It's pretty fun, So I'm glad that I had that. And not only was it easy to play, but those guys, those simple rock and roll punk guys, in my opinion, their musical sense is just spot on. And regardless of how easy or hard it is to get your fingers around stuff, musical sense is something that has nothing to do with difficulty of music. And that rock and roll and punk, the musical sense just spoke to me, and I like, this makes sense, and this is really good, and this is music. So really simple, and I got a lot of fun. It was like, guitar ain't that hard. It's not rocket science. I could enjoy playing, and that's about as high as my goals aspired to be. Any other questions? Let's get to all the questions, and I'll just play one song, and then we'll rock. So if there's any last questions, this would be the chance.
Hey Marty, thanks for
Hi.
coming out. Long time fan.
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Sure. Huge fan, long time listener. Really quick, who do you like to collaborate with now? You mentioned Jason Becker earlier. Aside from him, is there any other artists you like working with?
Oh man, I've been so lucky in the last 5 years to work with so many cool people. A lot of people in Japan that possibly you wouldn't know, but on my most recent record, Inferno, there's so many cool people. I mean, there's a guy named Keshav Dar from Sky Harbor. Anybody know Sky Harbor here? You do? Yeah. Fucking amazing. This dude is the next guitar star, I'm telling you right now. everybody will be hailing this guy in about a year or two. And luckily, I've known him for about 5 years now, and we've worked on a lot of stuff. So if you don't know Sky Harbor, check him out. And Dave Davidson from a group called Revocation, fucking amazing guitar player. Danko Jones, Alexi from Children of Bodom, Rodrigo and Gabriella. I mean, just on that album alone, I've had so many good friends to jam with. Jorgen from Shining. If any of these bands you should check out is Shining from Norway. Unbelievable. So I like collaborating because, everybody adds some different things, and my playing is so warped that it kind of like, it doesn't hurt to be mixed with other players, you know what I mean? And sometimes my stuff by itself can be too nauseating. It's too Marty sometimes, and I like to cut it with other guys with strong personalities. So I really love making big collaborations like that. So I've been very, very fortunate with that. And this guy right here.
Marty, I think I remember reading you started learning Japanese in a correspondence course while you were on tour, Rest in Peace times.
Yeah.
And how much longer thereafter did it take you to get a good grasp on it? And separately, an American living in Japan, how is it to live there? Cost of living, I understand, is kind of high, but I suppose you would live in a prefecture and then work in Tokyo proper, that kind of thing, commute.
I didn't get the second half of your question.
How is it the cost of living to live there? I'm imagining you would live out in this, a prefecture out in the suburb type of situation.
No, I live right in the heart of downtown, in the red light district, actually.
Okay.
Literally. So I was already speaking Japanese before I took the correspondence course. I could speak pretty well because I was touring Japan a lot and just always very interested in it. But at that time, we were doing long-ass tours, 10 months at a time, and I wasn't much for, playing video games or reading books, so I thought I'd learn Japanese, learn it properly. And I spoke pretty well myself, but I didn't learn the proper basics. So while I was on tour, I did a correspondence course. And it's real school, you got to do tests, and you got to go to college campuses and have somebody watch you take a test, and it's real. So I learned through that, and then I've just been speaking forever, so I've always been able to speak rather fluently, but living there is just what makes you completely assimilated to it. And living in Japan, I live right in the heart of downtown Tokyo. And actually there's a movie called Lost in Translation. I don't know if any of you saw it. I thought the movie kind of sucked, but all of the Japan scenes, that's right where I live. Where they're driving around and stuff, that's where I live. So, I like living in the city, period. And I'm so busy working that I'm not able to come in from far places in the suburbs, But it's insane. It's like New York on steroids, and I really, really like it. So, yeah. So I'm gonna play another song right now. This song is I haven't played it since whenever my last guitar clinic was. I never play it live. It's just a little thing to mess around with. Song that everybody knows, and I hope I remember how to play it. This is Amazing Grace. Thank you very much. So I hope to see you guys all tonight. I think we're going to play at 9 o'clock or so out by the pool. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your questions. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
excited. Oh, Gary, I know what I do that, too.
strings, and on the chicken papa, the steroids, and the powerlifting trophies. Yeah, people ask me, they're like, hey, Zach, you don't drink anymore. I'm like, nah, I don't drink anymore. Not that I don't want to drink. I didn't quit. My body actually did. But anyways, I said everybody, I told them I'm okay though. Because, I sniff glue and I eat paint chips on a regular basis. The results are pretty much the same. I wake up in the morning with my pants around my ankles and the fellows all tell me I had an awesome night last night. Well, Father Nick, you gonna come out? We'll go for Father Bolcon over here. The memory for a black label.
Let's hear it for these two guys. Dario and whoever the hell this is. Yay! Hey guys, we're running really late, but we've got 10 minutes and we're going to make the best use of that. So I'm going to give you a big tip.
And that's what I tell the wife all the time. Honey, this is going to be the best minute and a half of your life.
It's followed by, this is nice, wasn't it?
And listen, that's being nice.
And optimistic.
Very optimistic.
If you go to Axes and Anchors tonight, I'm going to give them a link to something. Myself and Zach did something called the boot camp for Guitar World years ago, and it tells you exactly how this man picks. It goes through his influences, what drives him, his inspirations, and they go from Bruce Lee to Al Di Meola.
When I was in the Boy Scouts, all that good stuff, yeah.
The Catholic priest he knew really well, all that
Yes,
stuff.
the beat downs, the endless beat downs.
So that will be on Axes and Anchors later today, so just download it. It's a PDF, it's really cool. It's like 5 pages of him spurting his heart.
I just starts talking about everything we love, which is the guitar. But I'll tell Father Nick, well, if we only have like 10 minutes, if you guys got any questions, any Q&A type stuff, if you want to ask me anything about the gear, the Ozzy.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you guys a favor. If you've got a question, come over here, please, in the line, and I'll come down and you can ask the question. But they've got to be cool. It can't be what favorite color it is. It's pink. So that
We
was
got that out of the way, yes.
It can't be who his favorite Bond is because it's Daniel Craig. So that's like the question.
No.
Favorite movie? Debbie Goes Dallas. No, Dave Goes Dallas.
Yes.
So we got our first question here. So far away, bro.
Number one, I really like what you're doing solo. I always wondered why you left, but I'll tell you what, you're really doing well.
Thank you,
I
brother.
appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
I've never really heard people do acoustic with effects like that. And what made you decide to go with effects with your acoustic?
Actually, when we were doing it, just the first time around, it was like the clean guitar. Then we were gonna like either switch to like a little, like a little practice amp that had distortion on it. That had the pedal board, and I was still running through the rig, and I just stepped on the distortion pedal on this thing. I go, the hell with it, we'll just use this thing. It sounds fine. But yeah, I mean, this is actually my setup that I use when I'm going through the loud amps. But I'm going through like Roland Jazz courses right now, which are amazing amps as well. For the clean stuff. But yeah, this is just a mistake. That's the reason why. It was like, it works. We'll just use it. You know what I mean? Thanks a lot, bro.
Can you go through your pedal?
Yeah, well, I just use all my Dunlop stuff. I got, my Zach Wild, the Berserker Overdrive, and then I got a carbon copy on here with just a tinge of like slapback, and then obviously the Zach Wild Phase, Zach Wild Rotovibe, and the Zach Wild Wild, along with the Zach Wild Issues and the Zach Wild Washing Machine.
And the microwave rules.
Yes.
And Zach, love what you're doing here. What would be, both of you guys,
what would be your best advice for a couple of young guys that are just getting started with guitar? I don't know if there's much hope for me, but for these young guys here, what would be your best bit of advice for learning and getting to know that instrument really well?
For me, I'll let Dario finish that business. Dario's 26, I'm 49. I mean, before I ended up playing with the Boss, I mean, obviously at 14 years old, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life and everything like that. But I just always say it's weird. I always have these conversations with my wife, and I have 4 kids as well. So I just always tell everybody, I go, I remember being at a football camp when I was, when I was a little guy, when I was like 12 years old. I remember Jack Lambert with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was there, and he was one of my favorite players. So he just goes, but it's the truth though. Even though it's football, it carries through in life and everything. You've got to have fucking passion for what you want to do. And whatever it is that you love in life, and I always tell kids, I go, if music's what you love, and music's what moves you and gets your labia hard and your slung, then that's what you should be doing. No, I mean, because that's, and just go all in. And just go, this is what I'm going to do with my life. And I mean, if I wouldn't have been blessed with having Ozzy in my life and me being 19 years old, exactly, the Boss, man. So I mean, me being in New Jersey and then being plucked by the Boss and then playing with him, so I've been 20 years old. So me and JD always talk about it. It's just like we'd either own a music store, we'd be teaching, we'd have our cover band, we'd play in a wedding band, we'd have our originals, but everything would be centered around music. The only time I ever had jobs was just a means to an end. I mean, like when I worked at the supermarket, being a produce clerk, I had no problems working there because I knew the only reason why I was working there was a means to, I wasn't going to make a career doing that. It was just so I could save up for guitars and amps and pedals and things I love. And then, and if I was 18 again, all over again, it'd be like me and the guys in the band would be saving up so we could get a van and get a U-Haul and then do what we want to do. And I'm just saying, if you want to get in the food business, we start off with a hot dog stand. Then we get 2 hot dog stands. Then we get 3. Then we get 4, and then we start hiring our friends. And then next thing you know, eventually we build it in the Wiener Schnitzel, and it's just this massive hot dog joint. But I'm saying it has to start somewhere. But I always say, because this is what you want to do with your life, but they never teach you anything after that. You know what I mean? It's just like you can practice all the scales you want and learn everything you want. But I mean, the whole thing is, with Oz, you'd always hear these nightmare stories about getting ripped off and raped and a whole 9 yards. So, because business stuff, because you hire people, you expect that you trust and will take care of you, and it's just like you get screwed over and whatever, and it's just, it's chalk it up as a learning experience. But you shouldn't have to go through that. Because I mean, if you know what you're doing from the beginning and you want to do music for a living. So I mean, that's the whole goal. I mean, of course everyone wants to be Led Zeppelin doing 6 nights at Madison Square Garden. That's the goal. But the whole thing is, until you get there, you have to enjoy the whole process. And because I got so many guys that just quit, and I guess this ain't for me. And it's just like those days, if you don't get a record deal by the time you're 30 years old, it's over. Those days are over. Because you can, with the internet, you could have, with you guys, you could band and everything like that. With Black Sabbath never had that, and Led Zeppelin never had that. Where they could be in England and you're over here we could be in Boston and go, man, check out this band Led Zeppelin, this band Black Sabbath, from the internet. So I would just say promote, and then get out there and start playing and build a following. So and then, and just hope that people dig what you're doing. I mean, Guns N' Roses didn't have to beg anyone to sign them. There was a line around the building and people dug it and they built a following. Same thing with Van Halen. Van Halen was playing in front of like 8,000 people before they even had a record deal. Just from playing backyard parties and keg parties and building everyone, oh man, we gotta go check out the band. So, and that's when all the vultures come in and go, good, we can make some money off these clowns and rape them, you know what I mean? So then there you go, you get a record deal. But no, I would just say, first of all, you have to love what you're playing, the music that you're playing, and I mean, if you love Pantera and you love stuff like that, then that's the genre of music you should be playing. Because the first band I was in, we were playing like really pop type stuff. And then being told, well, you're never going to make it if you don't play like Bon Jovi type stuff and everything. I go, yeah, but I dig Black Sabbath and Randy Rhoads and I love Led Zeppelin and I love everything like that. So it's just like, why am I I don't like this stuff, man. I want to play the music. This music doesn't move me. It doesn't do anything for me. Yet when I play a Sabbath song, I'm like, man, I wish this is the kind of music I want to be playing. So that's A number one. You just have to play what you love. And don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter. Give a shit what anyone else thinks. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't matter anyway. Because you're not going to fucking end up going to see you play anyways. You know what I mean? But, you know, everyone can say they hate Justin Bieber. Oh, fuck him, he sucks. Well, guess what? There's 85,000 people at the stadium that ain't saying that. And he's like, great, now suck my Justin Bieber dick, you motherfuckers. There you go. God bless.
I gotta say, we're out of time, and there's no better way to finish a planet than sucking my motherfucking Justin Bieber.
And because, you know why? Because Justin Bieber, you can say whatever you want about him. But the bottom line is, he loves what he does, and he has passion for what he does. He sings, he can play the drums, he can play guitar, he dances. I definitely can't do that. And then he cooks, does laundry and dishes as well. So there you go.
And Zach does dance, by the way, but it costs you $1.
No, you don't want to see it because you'll need therapy after that.
We're at it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zach and Dario. Louder! What's this guy's name? Yves G. what? Do you want to hear him play and hear him talk about why he does what he does? You got $50? I do. This guy, there are great guitar players on this cruise, amazing guitar players. And what you're getting now, you won't get on any other goddamn cruise ever. Is Yves Mounds, he's going to come out and play, then he's going to tell you how and why he does his stuff. That's amazing. And he's one of the guys, yeah, thank you. He's one of the guys, every now and again, a player comes that raises the bar. This guy didn't raise the bar, he redefined the bar, in my humble opinion, because before him, no one did what he still does so very, very, very well. So enough of my bullshit. Yves going to come out and play. So let's hear it. Yves Mounds.
Good afternoon. We did a couple of things. That was something that's not appeared on record before, but has some stuff in it. We're going to do something we probably heard before. Seven Sign.
Yeah.
The guitar's spent, so I'm gonna get another one. Hold on. Another one coming up. What do we got? Okay, we gotta do another track now. You might have heard. Okay. It's in tune when I bought it. But except I didn't buy it. Anyway, when I was very young, I started playing the blues. Then I realized it's in prison. So I decided to get out of prison and play all the notes that are available except for the 5 notes. Except this song is called Blue just because it's not blues. Here it goes. Yes.
Thank you.
Check 2, 3. Let's hear it for Ingve. Okay, how we're going to do this is I'm going to ask him some questions that will hopefully be of interest to all of you guitar players. Then he's going to play some more, then you're going to ask him some more questions. Then just before the end, if you've got a question for Ingve and it's guitar related, don't ask him what his favourite colour is. It's obviously pink. That's it. And don't ask him who his favourite blonde is. It's obviously Daniel Craig. So let's hear the guitar related. So I'm going to ask this guy some questions as soon as he's ready. No worries. So I'm going to start off with the obvious question. There's a guy called Anthony Robbins. He's one of the best success coaches on the planet. He says this: success leaves a footprint. This guy is hugely successful. In my opinion, his footprint's like the size of Godzilla's. So I want to ask you how you started playing, why you started playing, when you started playing, and who influenced you. Go.
I shall do that, but also I'm going to take the opportunity to plug my book, Relentless, where I explain in detail exactly how I started, how my style was evolving and everything. It's available on Amazon. Called the Ingve Malmsteen, Relentless. Anyway, to make it long story long, thank you. I don't know the price, but anyway, I got my first guitar when I was 5 years old. And I can have another one now, right now, Kenny. I need another one. Okay. And older brother and sister were playing rock and, Vivaldi and everything around the house. And I wanted to play rock and roll, so I started playing rock and roll. Like I do. And I got my first album, Deep Purple Fireball, when I was 7. And then my older sister brought home records from Genesis, which the Genesis that most of you guys might not know was extremely, like symphonic sounding, with Peter Gabriel. So I really like that. I listened to that. So to break some people's myths they might have about me, my classical influence does not, and I underscore not, derived from Richie Blackmore, because Richie Blackmore was a blues guitar player. Okay? In fact, any rock and roller that actually introduced me to classical was Tony Banks from Genesis, the keyboard player. And maybe this is my mother's Bach records. So there you have it.
Killer. So,
but I want to play Bach through the Marshall stacks, so that's what happened,
So I'm going to ask you this question. So your influences, because once again the footprint is part of the influences, who are your rock influences and who are your classical influences?
Well, the reason I started playing originally was because I saw Jimmy burn the guitar on stage, and I thought that was cool. So just the fact that he set the guitar on fire made me want to play. So that's the rock and roll influence. Not his playing, just the fact that he burned it, And you're laughing. It's true. And so I wanted double bass drums, I wanted big Marshall stacks, and I wanted smoke machines, and all that stuff. But I thought the musical, the melodic content of heavy metal was extremely limited. God bless them. I love AC/DC and Deep Purple. I think they're the greatest in the world. Because I didn't want to do that. I want to do something that had more, what you now call harmonic minors and mid-range scales and phrygian notes and so forth. And arpeggios and pedal notes and all that shit, which is all classical. Listen to Paganini's Fifth Caprice. You go, oh, okay.
Okay, that answers that. So when you were a kid, you were a pyromaniac. You just learned the shit out of guitars. Is that what you did? Or did you practice?
And the first thing I did when I got my first solid body guitar was go outside and smash my first guitar to top 1,000 pieces. Then I got a better guitar. And my first solid body was like a $15 guitar from older catalog, Smash that fucking thing up, So that's what I've done always.
Good man. So kids don't follow that advice unless your dad's really, really rich, okay? You're obviously born with a talent, but I know for a fact that any greatly talented person has to work on that talent. Like David Beckham is probably the best soccer player on the planet right now. He practiced for 10 hours a day as a kid. How hard did you practice?
Yeah, I was very fanatic about it. I wouldn't call it practice though, because to me practice was repetition, and so what I try to improvise and just kind of perform to myself and say like, play something that knocked myself out. That's also very, 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 very described exactly how it all went by in the book Relentless. That's available on Amazon. Yeah, but it's true. You can really get insight on the whole thing. Yeah. And basically, practicing was never something I did. It was more like I just played a lot. And I would play basically all the time I was awake. Didn't go to school. Don't fall that, kids.
How about, did you ever find yourself stuck in a rut with your playing?
Every day.
And how'd you get out of it?
You're stuck in a rut now.
So how'd you get out, apart from breaking the guitar, how'd you get out of it?
Originally, I thought you could work yourself out of it, and I found out the best thing is to go and do something else.
And there you have it. So go do something else. I'm asking one more question, and I'm going to ask him to play. Is that cool? Yeah. And by the way, there's something you might not know. He has a book called Relentless. It's available on Amazon. Yes. So get it, okay? After, if you're not on the internet, get on the goddamn internet. It's really cheap, and buy it after this clip. And then Kenny, his tech, will give you a pic when you show the receipt from Amazon. Well, my last question is, what the fuck? No. I love this guy because he, just so you know, from my personal point of view, I can't do what he does because I suck. But he doesn't intimidate me, he inspires me because he has a passion. Where does that passion come from, and how do you keep your passion so true? Because he plays with fire. He unleashes the fury and unleashes passion every goddamn time he picks up the guitar. Where does that come from, man?
Sometimes I don't know where it comes from. It's just sort of like, I think maybe the volume.
Yeah, it's not.
But yeah, because if I just play with no amp and every day, whatever, so I need to have these things back here.
So I'm going to ask you one more question. You're one hell of a performer. A lot of guys just stand there and it's boring. They look at their shoes. I'm bored by that. I'm not interested. You guys, you perform. Do you practice standing up or sitting down? Not that you practice, but when you noodle, do you play up standing up or sitting down? Apart from when you're in the bathroom, of course.
I think everything, all of it. Lying down, whatever.
On your head?
Yes.
And there you have it. So practice on your head, kids. You can do that. Flip, do spins, somersaults. I'd like you to play some more. Is that cool with you? Is it cool with you?
Yes. Then we're gonna skip the one and just go straight to Baudelaire. This is a piece by Johann Sebastian Bach called Baudelaire. Something that I picked up from fellow classical musicians. It's called pedal notes. I think they're very cool.
And what else do we have?
Yeah. And this album one from an album. Actually, it's the same title as the book, Relentless. Okay, well, hands on. Anyway, this is just strictly lower bedrooms. Here we go. Overture. So.
Overture, yes.
Wrong one. Let's go fugue. Overture. Right click.
Right click, play. Right click, play.
Okay. In that case, we gotta do something else. All right, Nick, I'm gonna do the fugue now then. I guess. Anyway, what I always wanted to do was to compose a symphony, or in this case called concerto, properly with a symphony orchestra, and just use this as the solo instrument instead of the violin. So I did that for Concerto Suite for Electric Guitar Orchestra in E flat minor, very catchy name. And we're going to do a piece from that one now, if we can get it going. It's called, this is a Prague Philharmonic playing with me today, right now, so say hi to them. The Fugue, here we go.
That didn't suck. Okay, I got some more questions. You cool with this so far? Is this good or what? Before I go on though, I just want to show you one thing. Just in case you people don't know. Relentless. Yes! That's $20, please, pal. So next question is, you have some favorite scales. Do you want to quickly run through what they are and why? And when?
There's a certain mode called harmonic minor which incorporates an augmented seventh problem. So when they say E harmonic minor, I say D sharp or an E flat instead of a D. And that creates a bit of if you turn around and start on the fifth root, and fifth root you actually get something called a harmonic minor frigid mode, which is also very compatible with diminished. Like it's, come together. Extremely well explained in my book, Relentless.
This is like an infomercial, Jesus Christ. You mentioned before. Yeah, I've read the book actually, it's really good. It's well worth the money, so get it after the show and you get a free pick. So, you mentioned already pedal point, which is basically pedaling a run around a note which is fixated. You also do something which is pizzicato a lot, which is an open string. Can you show a few examples of that? When you keep going back to the open string?
That's kind of common, actually. But you can do it in more interesting ways. Like, for instance, here's open string part from my fugue also. That's sort of like a variation of a lot of things you can do. Pedal notes, by the way, have very many variations also. You can do pedal notes on one note, pedal notes on two, like that. Or you can do like this. And this is all, Bach, really.
I told you I hated you, right? I'm standing here looking at this. I can't do it.
What?
Another thing you're very famous for, whether you like it or not, is the sweep up head show.
Yes, and I like to make that clear once and for all. It's not sweep picking. I don't know who came up with that. If you do sweep picking, that's like something like that. You have to be very accurate. Each note has to be one note played, the other one has to go away, so they don't go into each other. That's not down, up, down, up. It's like this. So it's sweep picking is the most. It's like my pet peeve. When I hear that, and I say, why do you say that? It's not sweep picking. It's not.
You slap this wrist.
No, but and also it doesn't have an exact way of doing it where it's always up, down, up, down, up, down, down. It's like down, down, up, down, up. It doesn't matter. Because you're doing 2 notes, 3 notes, or you can do 5 notes, 6 notes. It's not necessarily the same way. The way I've always played is with my ears. And I remember the first time I was 19 years old, I came to Japan, and they were very analytical about everything. And they said, Mr. Malmsteen, how do you hold your pick? I've been playing guitar all my life. And the first time I looked at my guitar, I don't know. I don't know how to hold my fucking pick, I just play the way I think it sounds good. So it's technique like that is not so important, except you should use all your hand fingers, It's good.
Excellent. Another thing I've noticed, and I hate before, you use the whole neck really well. A lot of guys get stuck in box positions. You're all over the place. Is that OCD?
Linear.
That's OCD, right?
Maybe, yeah, I guess. I don't know what it means, but it's okay. No, but that's just a byproduct of like breaking out of the prison of pentatonic notes. Because you don't play. By the way, I love Richard Blackmore, and I think he's amazing, but he's a pentatonic player, okay? So he plays in G, plays in B, boxes, like this, okay? Whereas linear notes, and you can do it any way you like. It doesn't matter how you do it because it's all notes. Like on piano, you know? And there it is.
And there you have it.
Also very well documented in my book, Event.
That's probably this next question.
There are other books. Don't confuse them with that one.
Your whole neck is scalloped. How did you get into the whole scalloping thing? Because they're pretty deep scallops.
Yes, they are. Also used railroad tracks for frets. Pretty extreme, I don't know. But I don't know. I was, as a little kid, I was rebellious. Again, much better than what documented in my book. I took like a side, like a apprentice thing in a little luthier shop when I was like 13 or whatever. And I saw this carved out old lute. And I just started doing it on my guitarist, and I liked it. And there it went, you know.
Gotcha. By the way, if anyone's got a question, do me a favor. Come over to this side slowly now, because we'll ask those next. I have 2 more questions to ask you, and then then you've got far beyond. Yeah. So, my next question is, actually no, I've got 2 questions, I lied. The thing I love about your playing, apart from the passion and the anger, is your vibrato. Did you have any were there any influences on that vibrato? Because it's really cool.
I think it came from listening very much to classical violin. You know, like when I heard Paganini the first time, I was 13 or so. I freaked out completely because I realized that's what I want to do on the guitar, which is of course easier said than done. But that was, you know, the whole thing, the linear notes, arpeggios, and vibrato, and the whole 9 yards. That came from violin, you know. And again, you play with the ears, you know. You play with the ears. You know, it's like singing. You know, singing and guitar playing has a lot of things in common because of the glissando notes, bending and so forth. You know. Yeah. So it's just really what you want to hear. You know, reproduce it.
Gotcha. And I'm going to go back to scalloping for a sec because I played a scallop neck and I was way out of tune because I was heavy-handed. Did it take you a long time to get used to the light touch you need, not to push the note sharp?
No.
Reasons to hate him, number 12. I want to quickly discuss, you have one, I asked this guy once, this guy, no, he didn't, he just said this to me. We were talking about his backline, which as you can see is pathetically small.
Yes. This is a miniature version.
This is, compared to him, for him this is small.
Yes.
This is a dwarf setup. This is his club setup. Believe it or not. It's missing like 20 heads and 20 cabinets. He's the only guy I've ever met who has more Marshall on stage than Slayer. God bless you. Tell us a bit about your gear and why you use what you use and where it came from.
Yeah. When I was a kid, you know, obviously there was no other amp. You know, I mean, please. In my opinion, there isn't anything else to even look at. You know, I mean, really, come on, man. I mean, it's just like everything else is a copy. And what happened was when I was a little kid, I was like 10, 12, whatever. My friends at Marshall decided that they actually finally figured out what people love their amps. So they came out with a model called a master volume model. So you can get the distortion to turn it down. And everybody that had the 4-input ones are now called Plexi or 1959 or Super D, whatever. They were like used as boat anchors. Nobody wanted the fucking things. They were all over for like $10. So I said, okay, you know, I just want as many Marshalls as I can get. So I would save up my money. I would buy everybody's Marshalls that you can't turn down. What? So that's how I ended. But you know, by accident, kind of how my sound came about. You know, I didn't want to use, or I just ended up not using ones with the master one only, and that's really a big difference to me, because with these, the 4 input ones, the power amp is working as well as the preamp. And that is what makes it sound, really, all together, loud. And your whole skull like vibrating, it's perfect.
So what you're telling me is that this cost you $170, you son of a bitch.
No, it's true actually, because I could have saved up to buy one of the other ones, but I want to have more Marshalls than what else. So I said, okay, this might be too loud, but still I have more than you do.
What is that saying? He with the most toys wins, he with the most Marshalls wins, and the winner is AJ Nasty, who incidentally has a book called Relentless, available on Amazon. I gotta tell you this, one of the funniest things I ever heard was, I was interviewing him for a signature amp. He's one of the few guys that, I work for Marshall, and I paid him $50 to say what he just said, by the way, so he's buying 5 more heads. I was asking him once about his background. He goes, you know what, Nick? He goes, the bottom line is this: when man goes into space, there should be only 2 man-made objects they can see from outer space: the Great Wall of China and my Marshall background. And there it is. God damn it! So we've only got one guy with a question. Are you guys scared of this man? Are you scared of this man? So this kid is 17. He kicked. Anyone see the Jam last night? This kid kicked ass. And I taught him everything he knows. So, what is your question?
So lately I've been trying to listen more classical music, and there's so many interpretations and musicians who do it. And I was wondering, when you listen to Paganini, for example, who do you listen to do it?
There's only one guy, man. And I had the honor to have dinner with him a couple times, stuff like that. It's like Roman. A guy is like, hands down, man. He's man. You're going to listen to Vivaldi, Tartini, Paganini, Tchaikovsky, violin concerto. It's like Roman on the violin. No, there's no other. That's it.
Your name is my friend?
Brett.
Okay, this is Brett.
Hey man, a 2-part question. One is, when you first came over, what year did you realize you were going to change the game in guitar instead of just coming over? And the second question is, what is your favorite book available on Amazon?
Well, I can start with the second question. That would be Relentless by Ingrid Malmsteen. No, the funny thing is, I worked really hard growing up as a kid in Sweden, and it was just completely all the doors shut, That's why socialism is a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Doesn't encourage anybody. As soon as I came to America, God bless America, I realized that this country really is a bad opportunity. Anybody wants to complain about that, they should leave.
Amen.
Yes. So, to make a long story longer, what happened was I came to America, invited to go play with a band called Steeler, which was really a crappy band, but that's besides the point. I did one show with opening up for Glenn Hughes, and there was 30 people there. And the next couple of days later, we were playing another club in LA, and it was lines around the block. And I was looking down at the window, and I said, who's playing tonight? And the guy working there goes, you are. It took 1 week, and people just freaked out. And I said, this is so strange, because I did this all my life in Sweden, nobody gave a shit, and now all of a sudden it's cool, So I owe this country everything. God bless America.
Could you imagine how big that line would have been if Relentless was available on Amazon?
It's actually, that particular episode is very, very well documented in the book. In great detail.
Yes, how are you? I just got one question for you, actually 2. First one is, why did you not bring your book for sale here today?
I'll say again? They're only available at Amazon.com.
But you could have sold a lot right here.
I believe
but
that.
My actual question is, how has record making changed for you in the last 30 years?
The record making?
Yes, for you, Alan.
Well, it's changed dramatically 20 years ago when I built my own studio. And it was a studio that had, the regular equipment, like the 2-inch tape machines, and, like we always make records, And it's not a home studio, it's like full-blown studio, And it was designed by John Arthur, who's father did Criteria Studios and Hit Track and everything. So it's a real deal, And I did it in the house, And that changed a huge deal. But the thing was that I did the drums there, I just did my solos and stuff, which was great, Then, a couple of years ago, I switched everything over to Pro Tools. Still with big boards and all that shit. But I didn't realize that, for instance, I say my engineer said, oh shit, I should have had 16 bars here. I said, oh, you mean like this? Oh man, if I knew, because, I write the lyrics, I write the songs, I write the melodies, no matter who sings. On my last two albums, I sing everything, but the freedom of just changing arrangements and putting, oh yeah, I want to put this intro here and this and whatever, without click tracks and all that shit, that you used to have, super codes and all the drummers and all that. That changed my creativity a lot. And, so most people use Pro Tools because they can't really, they use it for trickery, which I don't like that. I just like the freedom of arrangements, And never a problem with red lights, oh shit, whatever. I mean, you record it, and if you don't like it, you go take a Ferrari out for a drive, You come back and do it again.
What's up, man?
What's up?
So, dude, I just recently, man, worked hard, and I bought my dream guitar. I'm a Gibson, man, okay? Can you tell me
Sorry to hear
what-
that. Nah, seriously, I like it. I have a lot of Gibsons.
Can you tell
These
me
are the
what-
coffee tables.
Can you tell me why I should be offended, man?
Well, the thing is this, I joke my tech all the time about this, and I have a lot of Les Pauls and Flying V's and EC35s, so I have all the nice Gibsons. But if I would take one of those things and do what I do with this, it would be a dead duck in half an hour. This thing flies around like crazy, So they're just not built for battle. They're more like really nice furniture, In a nice way. I meant that in a nice way.
I am a Gibson guy too, so wow. But hey, I'm a big gear guy, so two things real quick. What do you use on your pedal board? And
I use an eBay Malmsteen overdrive pedal.
Available on Amazon.
Available at Amazon. That means shut the fuck up, I guess. No, but seriously, I use that and I use Boss pedals. That's it. Very simple stuff.
when I look at your strats, I see the big headstocks. So I think like 70s.
Yeah.
So you're a big fan of that era.
Well, actually, the sound comes from here on strats. All the resonance comes from here. So if you would have Floyd Rose here, for instance, you kill all the resonance. You have no resonance left. And if the big headstock gets a little more loud sound, so I like it. I like where it looks too.
Thank you. Last question, and congratulations to all the furniture owners in this room.
It is a joke, just I don't want to hear anything about that later on. Yeah, there you go.
I want to tell you that Rising Force really inspired me. Rising Force, the album,
Yes.
it's really changed my view on how guitar could be played. Because back then, everybody was doing a lot of walking through stuff, it's really different. Well, you did change the game. I want to know, what is your writing process? And do you just listen to classical at home? Or do you listen to rock?
To quote Enzo Ferrari, he says, yes, we put stereos in our cars, but real music comes from the engine. So that's basically what I'm listening to. But seriously, I don't listen to music anymore. It's built in here, And then it flow out like it is, And then the next question is usually, do you know any good guitar players? I said, yeah, I'm sure there are really good ones. And I never was able to say anybody before until now. His name is Antonio Malmsteen. Watch out. Watch out, people.
I've heard the kid is really good.
That's my son. Yeah.
And that's not just a proud dad talking, the kid kicks ass.
He does.
I'm going to tell you one more quick story, then he's going to play one more song, then he's out of here. But there's some artwork available on the 5th floor, the eBay Malmsteen artwork. That's Foggy on the Sun there. So check it out, buy it. It looks good next to your Gibson furniture. It looks amazing.
Listen, let's hear him saying this now, not me. So if you want to write something, you're like...
I have a bunch of Gibsons, and they're great. I have a bunch of strats too.
I have a bunch of Gibsons, and I love them.
So I'm going to finish with one thing about this guy. one of the best things I've ever heard of it. Like, you know how everyone who plays rock has a rider, which is what they need at the show for them to perform? Like some people will check it by saying no brown M&Ms in the M&M bowl. You've heard that story, right? I can tell you one thing. I took a picture of Yngwie Malmsteen's his M&M bowl. There were no brown M&Ms in there, but besides that, he told me one great thing once. We were going to show him, it was the 50th anniversary of Marshall at Wembley Arena in 2012, and Yngwie went to talk to the sound guy about this, actually the production manager about the smoke machine, because like he said, because of his pyromaniac youth, he's obsessed by smoke and fire, and he was really insistent on the type of smoke machine. And when we finished, he walked out and he said this to me, and this is ingrained in my memory forever. It's one of the many reasons I love this guy, because this guy should be English, because his sense of humor is totally Monty Python. He was like, Nick, you know what, back in the old days, my writing was really simple. It just said this: no smoke machine, no Marshalls, no fucking Yngwie. You can't beat that. Let's hear it for this guy.
Thank you. One more song and I'll see you later, okay? Thank you so much for everything.